Welcome back. In the previous three videos, we have learned about the definition of the magnetic field B, its properties, the force acting on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. We have also learned about the Biot-Savart law and the Ampere's law and some of its applications. In this video, we will apply Biot-Savart law to some more cases of practical interest. So the first case will be, we will find B at a point on the axis of a circular coil. So here I have drawn a circular coil of radius r, and we will find B at the point P at a distance z from the center of the coil. So according to the requirement of the Biot-Savart law, we will first consider a small length element dl prime at this point, which will act as the source of the field that we want to calculate. So the Biot-Savart law gives the field dB due to this length element only as mu 0 by 4 pi I dl prime cross r unit vector by r square, where r is the radius vector of the point P from the length element dl. So you see, first we will calculate the magnetic field only due to this length element, and later on we will integrate over the entire loop for calculating the total magnetic field B. So only for this length element, the field dB according to this equation will be mu 0 I by 4 pi and simply here dl prime by r square, because you see the direction of this length element is tangential along the direction of the coil, and the radius vector is at an angle 90 degree to the direction of the length element dl. So this cross product dl cross r, dl prime cross r, will only give dl prime, considering only the magnitude. So first let us consider the magnitude of the field. Now, since the cross product dl cross r points perpendicular outwards from the radius vector r at the point P, so this field dB will be directed along this direction. Now, assuming this as the z axis, we can resolve this field dB along the perpendicular to the z axis and also along the z axis. So the component perpendicular to the z axis will be dB sine theta, and parallel to the z axis it will be dB cos theta. So now you see the perpendicular component dB sine theta will get cancelled out when we integrate over the entire loop, because a similar length element dl prime is also located exactly on the opposite end of the coil. So when we integrate over the entire coil, the perpendicular components will all get cancelled out, and we will be left only with the component which is parallel to the z axis. So finding the magnetic field B is essentially integrating only the parallel component. So for the total field B, only the magnitude, we have mu 0 I by 4 pi integration of dl prime by r square and the cos theta component. Also, I forgot to mention that this angle is considered as theta. So if this is theta, then this angle will be theta, and this angle, as I already said, is 90 degree, because dl cross r will point perpendicular to both the radius vector r and also the vector dl. So now you see, as the integration will be carried out only over the circular coil, so this cos theta and r square is constant as far as the integration is considered. So we are only left with integral of dl prime, and this integral of dl prime is simply 2 pi capital R, where R is the radius of the circular coil. So the total field B will be simply mu 0 by 4 pi I. This cos theta can be written in terms of the parameters of this triangle as R by this R, where this R can also be written as R square plus Z square to the power half, where Z is the distance of the point P from the center of the circle. This 1 by R square can similarly be written as R square plus Z square, and we are left with 2 pi R. So simplifying, we will get so this is the final expression for the magnetic field. Now you see, if you want to calculate the magnetic field at the center of the coil, that means at O, you simply put at the center O, you simply put Z equals to 0, and we will get mu 0 I by 2R. So this is the magnetic field at the center of a circular coil, and this is the magnetic field at a distance Z from the center of the circular coil. Now if there are n turns in the coil, then you just simply multiply this current by n. Now regarding the direction of the field B, you see here, since we are integrating only the component parallel to the Z axis, so the net direction of the field B will be along the Z direction. So just include a unit vector along the Z. Similarly here also. Now this is the case for the complete circle. If in case we have only a semicircle, then the difference will be only in the integration dl prime. So in that case, for a semicircle, we will have the integration of dl prime as only pi r, and accordingly we have to modify this equation also. So in that case, we will just have another 2 factor in the denominator, and similarly here we will have 4r for a semicircular loop. Similarly, we can also calculate the magnetic field for a quarter circle of the loop, and there will be another factor 2 in the denominator. So this will be 8, and this will also be 8. Now for this particular problem, you might be tempted to use Ampere's law simply to calculate the field at the center O. For example, you have this circular coil at the center O, you want to calculate the field B, so you will be considering an Amperian loop, a circular loop passing through the center. But you see, this is not possible here, since Ampere's law, the Ampere's law we have is B dot dl equals to mu 0 I, where the integration dl is over the Amperian loop given here as the dotted circle. But this Ampere's loop is useful only in cases where this magnetic field B can be constant at each point of the Amperian loop, so that we can take the magnetic field outside the integration and perform the integration over dl simply. But here you see, the magnetic field B is not constant at any point on the Amperian loop, so the Ampere's law cannot be applied in this case. The Ampere's law can be applied only to very symmetrical cases. Particularly, we have 4 such cases. One is for an infinite straight conductor. Second one is for an infinite plane sheet the third case is for an infinite length of solenoid, and fourth is for a toroid. In other cases, we have to simply use Biot-Savart law to calculate the field. So the next case is we want to calculate B at the center of a square loop carrying a current I in the direction shown already in the figure. So observing the symmetry of the problem, you should have already guessed it right that we will just calculate the magnetic field B for each arm and accordingly add for the other arms. But considering the direction of the field for the respective arms, you see, if you apply right hand screw rule to each of the arms and point your thumb along the direction of the current, then you will find that all the arms of the square will produce a magnetic field B along the direction outward from the plane of the board. So the problem is very simple. Add all the magnitudes and the final direction of the field B will be outward from the plane of the board as shown by this dot surrounded by a circle. So in a previous video, I have already mentioned and we have also derived the magnetic field B as mu 0 I by 4 pi r, where r is the distance of the field point P perpendicularly from the axis of the conductor. So there we had this result, sin theta 2 minus sin theta 1, where the configurations of the angles theta 1 and theta 2 are shown in this figure, and please note the sense of rotation of the angle. But here if we apply this formula to this diagram, we have to make subtle changes. For example, here both theta 1 and theta 2 are considered as theta and both are equal, and both will have a magnitude of pi by 4. Also, the sense of rotation of the angle theta 1, as we considered in the previous case, is opposite to the sense of rotation of the angle theta 1 here. Theta 1 is the lower angle, so here we have to include a minus sign. So this will be basically plus sin theta in our present problem. So finally we will have B prime for, say, this arm as mu 0 I by 4 pi r 2 sin theta, where sin theta will be simply sin pi by 4. So sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2, and here we will have mu 0 I by 2 pi r multiplied by 1 by root 2. So the total magnetic field B will be simply 4 times this quantity. So if you simplify this, you will get root 2 mu 0 I by pi r. So this is the total magnetic field B, and the direction of the field B can be written as including a unit vector along the z-axis. Say if you define the z-axis as outward from the plane of the board. Now let us rewrite the magnitude of the field in this form. Now you see, for a square we have here 4, here also we have 4. You can match these to the number of arms n equals to 4 in a square. Now if you calculate this quantity for a, say, a regular pentagon, there we have n equals to 5. So in that case, analogously, we will have this angle as pi by 5. So by analogy we can write the magnetic field here as mu 0 I by 2 pi r sine pi by 5. It is left to the viewers for a rigorous calculation of the pentagon, and you will find this particular expression for the magnetic field. Again, for a regular hexagon we will have n equals to 6, and that particular angle will be pi by 6, and we will have the magnetic field as 6 mu 0 I by 2 pi r sine pi by 6. Now if we extend these to an n-sided polygon, a regular n-sided polygon, then again there the magnetic field B will be n multiplied by mu 0 I by 2 pi r sine pi by n. Now say if we want that n will tend to infinity, then that n-sided regular polygon will tend to become a simple circle. So let us see what happens in that case. Say we have n tends to infinity. So you see this quantity pi by n, say theta equals to pi by n, this will tend to 0. So sine theta in that case, if theta is very small, that can be approximated as simply theta, that is equals to pi by n. So here we will put pi by n in place of sine pi by n, and simply we will get this n and n will cancel out, also pi cancel out, we will have mu 0 I by 2r. You see, this was the formula we arrived at just in the previous derivation as the magnetic field at the center of a simple circular coil. Now let us calculate the magnetic field B at the point P corresponding to this particular current loop. The current loop is A, B, C, D. It has 4 arms. 2 of the arms are quarter of a circle of radii A and B, and the other 2 arms B, C and AD are straight lines or straight conductors. So by the principle of superposition, we will add all the contributions to the magnetic field B due to each of the arms. So first let us focus on the arm BC. So we have again the Biot-Savart's law. So here first let us consider a length element dl prime on this conductor BC. So you see the direction of dl prime is anti-parallel to the direction of r, where r is the radius vector of our concerned field point P from the origin of the magnetic field B, that is the length element dl prime. So dl prime being just anti-parallel to the radius vector r, so dl prime cross this r unit vector, this magnitude will simply give dl prime sine pi, which is 0. So you see the contribution from the straight arms BC, and similarly also for the straight arm AD, both will contribute 0 magnetic field at the point P. Now the problem is simpler. We have only to calculate the contribution to the magnetic field B due to the quarter circles. So we have already derived the magnetic field due to a quarter circle in the previous example. So the magnitude of B will be, say for the quarter circle AB, it will be mu 0 I by 8a, where a is the radius of the circle. Similarly, the magnetic field contribution due to the arm CD, this BCD, will be equals to mu 0 I by 8b. Now here say we have considered z axis as the direction pointing outwards from the plane of the board. So considering the directions of the field, this field B due to the arm AB and applying the right hand screw rule, we will find that due to the direction of the current anti-clockwise, this field B will be directed along the z axis. Again for the arm CD, the current being clockwise and applying right hand screw rule again, we will find that this field BCD will be directed towards the negative z axis. So we will include a negative sign here. So the net magnetic field B by the principle of superposition will be just the vector sum of these two quantities. This will ultimately give mu 0 I by 8 1 by A minus 1 by B z unit vector. Finally, so this is the net magnetic field at the point P. So now as a last example, let us calculate the force acting on a square loop of side A placed beside a straight current carrying conductor of infinite length carrying a current I. The loop itself carries a current I prime and the loop is at a distance r from the straight conductor, r being the distance of the closest arm of the square loop from the conductor. So we have the reference frame as shown here. X points along the right, y points vertically upwards and the z axis points vertically outwards from the plane of the board. The magnetic field B that will be created by this infinite conductor will be, according to the prescription of the Ampere's law, if we consider an Amperian loop of radius say r, then the magnetic field at the position of this arm AB will be B at AB will be mu 0 I by 2 pi r, and the direction of the magnetic field will be along the z direction. Similarly, also by Ampere's law, the magnetic field at the position of the arm CD, that is B, CD will be mu 0 I by 2 pi r plus A z unit vector, where r plus A is the distance of the arm CD from the infinite conductor. Now, to find the force acting on the square loop, we will individually see each arm of the loop. First, let us concentrate on the arm BC, so which is oriented along the y direction, and we consider a length element dl prime as drawn here on the arm BC. So the force dF is given by I prime integral of dl prime cross B, where this magnetic field B is at the position of the length element dl prime on the arm CB. Now see, according to this cross product dl cross B will produce a force which will be directed along the positive x direction. Again, if we consider a similar length element dl prime, here the direction of the length element is according to the direction of the current anti-parallel to the direction of the length element on the arm BC. So if you apply the right hand screw rule, this dl prime cross B will point along the negative x direction. So you see, for each such length elements on the arm BC and AD, the forces will be equal and opposite. So if we integrate for the entire lengths of the arms BC and CD, the total force will be 0 because of these two arms. So the problem simplifies. We will only calculate the contribution to the force because of the arms AB and CD. Now let us concentrate on the arm AB. So here we will have the same equation of the force, but in place of B we will write BAB. So the magnitude of the force will be mu 0 I by 2 pi r multiplied by I prime dl prime cross z integral dl prime cross z unit vector. Now see, this dl prime is directed according to the sense of the current flow here. It is directed along the negative x direction. So by the right hand screw rule, this dl prime cross z will point along the positive y direction. So considering this as the magnitude, okay, let us write the vector equation. This will be mu 0 I prime by 2 pi r. Integral of dl prime will be simply a, and this will point along the positive y direction. Similarly, for the arm CD, here the length element dl prime points along the positive x direction. So dl cross this magnetic field vector B will give a force that will point along the negative y direction. So similar to this prescription, here we will have, this one is for arm AB and this one is for arm CD. Here we will have I prime dl prime cross B CD, that will be equal to mu 0 I prime by 2 pi r plus a, and integral of dl cross dl prime cross z unit vector, and this will produce the integral of dl prime is simply a. So these are the two expressions. Here there will be unit vector y, actually it will be minus y unit vector since the force points along the negative y direction. So these are the two respective forces due to the arms AB and CD. Now so we will simply add these two forces to get the net force. So the net force will be multiplied by a y unit vector. So simplifying this, we will get so this is the expression for the total force acting on the square loop.